G'day, ZiggyD here, and today I want to talk about the lack of items, gold, last hitting, and denying in Heroes of the Storm. So this is pretty much a question or observation I see a lot when I'm streaming the game. It's like the game has no gold, the game has no items, and often this leads to discussion of the game being terrible for this reason. But in this video I want to talk to you guys about this being a design decision and the reason for this design decision. Now, when it comes to design decisions in games, developers make a conscious decision to make their game go in one direction or in another direction. And generally speaking, it's not a better or worse sort of thing. It's you may enjoy one design decision more over the other. So let's kind of talk about the other MOBAs. What is present in the other MOBAs? So generally there's this kind of idea of a laning phase, or where you're farming creeps. Basically there's a lot of farming that happens in the other MOBAs, in Dota and League of Legends for example. The idea is that if you kill a minion, so if you kill a creep, if you get the last hit on a creep, you get an amount of gold. Now in Dota that concept is extended even further, and you can actually kill your own creeps to deny the other team from getting gold. So the whole idea is this concept of maximizing your gold, and in Dota minimizing the other team's gold, though the same thing sort of happens in both games. Then with this gold, you're able to grow your character through the gold through purchasing of items. So the idea is, a skilled player will be able to get more gold, deny the opponent from getting gold, and get better items in the long run, and be able to use that as an advantage to push. So in Heroes of the Storm, there is no gold, there is no item shop. The idea of character progression is instead done through the talents system. So essentially, as your team gains experience, this means whenever creeps are being killed in lanes that a hero is present in, so as long as you're kind of involved or in the area which creeps are being killed, so you have a lane presence, your team is getting experience and your heroes will be progressing. So there is still this idea of farming creeps, but it's much less important. You don't need to be so active on that. Instead, your attention is turned towards PvPing with other heroes, pushing like towers and things like that, and taking objectives. So this is pretty important. Instead of like trying to deny creep kills and things like that, you're actually trying to deny lane time, remove the heroes from the lane, either by drawing them to an objective, trying to take an objective yourself, or by simply killing them in the lane to remove their lane presence. So this is where it comes down into a design decision. Blizzard has kind of decided that they want to remove this idea of the laning or the farming phase from their game to make the game shorter, more compact, and we kind of see this 10 to 20 minute games. I think they wanted it to be around 15 minutes max, but I'm seeing some 20-minute games at the moment. But I think as the community sort of gets a bit more of a grasp of the game, things will speed up a little bit, but we'll see how that plays out. But the idea is to make, instead of spending time farming creeps, you are really pushing hard for objectives, for denying time in a lane through killing the other heroes, and through pushing. So this is the design decision. They've decided to go for this. Now, last hitting is a skill feature in like League of Legends and Dota. It's a something that is not so much of a skill ceiling, but it's a skill floor. So basically, to be a competent player in either of those games, you need to be able to last hit well, otherwise you won't be getting gold, you won't be progressing your heroes, and you won't be able to contribute to your team. Now, Blizzard's decision to remove that removes that skill floor. It's something they've decided they don't want a part of the game, and it allows people to get into the game more easily. So this is kind of a part of why Heroes is in general a more casual friendly game. It's a game that people are able to get more into. However, as a skill ceiling change, I don't actually think there's that much difference. Skill like last hitting, all like pro level players are going to be able to last hit very, very well, and that's not so much of I don't think the skill ceiling in Heroes of the Storm. Instead, your ability to take objectives, work with your team, and push a lane, and put pressure on towers is much more important. So this kind of leads into this other interesting idea. Towers in Heroes have ammunition, and this is something I think people haven't really paid much attention to, and it's something I've been thinking about a fair bit. If you're performing well in a lane, if you're destroying the enemy's creeps, your creeps are making it through, then the towers are going to be using the ammunition on the creeps when they finally make it to the towers. In a kind of a controlled situation where there's no hero intervention, creeps will meet in the middle of a lane, they'll kind of fight each other, and then they'll die there. not really much is going to happen in terms of difference. Like, they'll push a little bit one way, push a little bit one way, but no one will ever make it to the towers. However, with hero intervention, your side starts to, you know, as you fight the creeps, as you lend your hand to the kind of the battle as it is, the tug of war, your creeps will push forwards to the towers. Now, if you're playing better than the other hero in that lane, your creeps will be pushing more towards their towers more often. And what that means is the towers will expend their ammo. If you're doing this often enough, if you're getting like 3 or 4 creeps through every single time, the tower is going to run out of ammo in a few runs. So instead of like last hitting these creeps and getting gold and kind of getting your advantage that way, by making sure that you're killing creeps well and denying the other hero from attacking your creeps, then you're pushing the tower constantly. And when it runs out of ammo, you have free reign over a tower. You can destroy a tower when it runs out of ammo. You can even do it when it just has like a little bit of ammo left. You're basically able to push really hard then. This speeds up the game a lot as well. I've found you can destroy towers really quickly in heroes, especially if you're playing well in a lane, and if your team is playing well overall. You can push down through those towers and push down that lane and push into their base and win the game very, very quickly that way. And pretty much every design decision I've seen, from the tower ammo, the removal of gold, the removal of item means no going back to town. Instead, you're allocating your talents while in the battle, essentially, as your team levels increases, you're allocating in there. Pretty much every design decision I've seen is to make heroes a faster game, a game that's more oriented towards PvP and taking of objectives, which helps you in that idea of pushing each lane, helps you in the idea of removing the ammo from the towers and then taking down the towers. And that's basically what it is. That's what it comes down to in the design decision. Now, it's perfectly understandable to say, I prefer a game where we're focused on who is able to really like last hit well, who is able to farm the lane well, and sort of that micro skill, compared to saying maybe I prefer instead the idea of focus on the PvP and the objectives and pushing well and things like that. So it's perfectly understandable to say you prefer one of the different design decisions, but I don't think one is like empirically better than the other. So I think my overall summary is this. The kind of the goals of these games are twofold. There's the one is the customization of your hero. So in the other MOBAs, that's done through getting your gold and getting your items and building your character through your items, and that's also a way of kind of showing your skill as well. Whereas in Heroes, that's replaced through the talent system, the in-battle talent system. So that's kind of just like kind of a switch over there. But then to kind of fill out Heroes again, because it's removed a bit of complexity from the item system by replacing it to the talent system, we have the idea of the tower ammunition and pushing through that, and then the map objectives. So in the end, we've got Dota and LoL looking like games that are focused on this idea of really building up your character through gold, getting those last hits, denying the creeps in Dota, and things like that. And then in Heroes, instead focusing on either pushing the lane, removing the ammo from the towers, pushing really hard that way, and gaining an advantage from your team through that push, or through focusing on the map objectives and gaining a big rolling advantage by taking those map objectives, like, you know, getting the pirate ship, blasting away their towers, or getting the curse, and basically stopping their towers from firing so you can have free reign to push and things like that. So it's an interesting sort of situation, and from kind of just my playthroughs of Heroes so far, I quite like the different design decisions. Firstly, I like the idea of having different games in the market that are wildly different. They're different ends of the spectrum. The design decisions make the games, yeah, just really different in the end, and they play very differently. And I kind of like also the approach towards making Heroes a faster game that's more focused on those objectives and things like that. And you gotta say, like, as someone who myself hasn't played that many MOBAs, getting into Heroes is a lot easier because I don't need to worry about this like artificial skill flaw of last hitting. I don't need to be a competent last hitter to play Heroes well. I can just jump in and start learning the objectives, learning how to push well with my team, learning how to take down those towers, and start learning my talent builds and things like that. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. That hopefully explains the removal of items and gold and how Heroes is actually making itself a complex game. There is the complexity there, it's just in a different area to the other games. But anyway, that's it for now. I'm ZiggyD, and thanks for watching.